We see Nigeria at a very early stage of Islamic finance development, primarily because of the huge size of the market. It has a huge potential to grow. All the Islamic finance banks, given the potential market size, can grow manyfold. And in so doing, I think they need capitalization.
Hello and welcome to Islamic Finance Weekly. I am Rahma Saeed Muhammad. Today we're at the Islamic Development Bank Group Day in Nigeria, and we're speaking with none other than the head IsDB Group Regional Hub Nigeria, Hammad Zafar Hundal. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So let's delve right into our conversation of today. I mean, today is the IsDB Day in Nigeria, and it means talking about capacity building and nation development. How would you describe the role of IsDB in supporting the growth and development of Nigeria's economy?
Right. So Islamic Development Bank Group is a multilateral development bank. It's owned by all the shareholders, including Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the important shareholders and owners of the bank. All our strategy, through which we develop projects and programs, is determined by, guided by, driven by national solutions. So which means we fully align our interventions with a national strategy. So in this case, Nigeria's renewed hope agenda, and whatever the elements are where the government places its priorities in terms of development aspirations, we try to help the country. So a usual way to work with the country is to provide development financing for infrastructure, for human capital, and of course for private sector development. So in Nigeria, the country right now happens to be at an inflection point. It was referred to and mentioned by His Excellency the Honorable Minister of Finance as well, that it is a turning point in the country's history where, after building the macroeconomic foundations, the country is now ready for growth. So we support the country through large-scale infrastructure projects, economic infrastructure, which means transport, energy, and social infrastructure, health and education, and also private sector development, in really laying down the foundations for a higher level and higher trajectory of growth. This is our role. As we identified that we are here on a strategic engagement drive, this Islamic Development Bank Group Day is an initiative which aims to introduce the products and services of all the group entities, including the parent bank, the Islamic Development Bank, as well as ICD, ITFC, ISEC. One is trade finance arm, one is private sector arm, one is risk insurance arm, all of them to bring to bear and come together, synergize their products and offerings so that we can provide integrated solutions which can better position Nigeria for this new era of accelerated growth.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Hundal. So looking at non-interest finance, what are the critical sectors that can be supported in Nigeria, to accelerate socio-economic activities?
So I must share with you that all our financing is, of course, Sharia compliant. It's Islamic finance. So we use asset-based risk-sharing instruments, and those are istisna, murabaha, ijara, and all of those instruments. We use that to develop projects and programs in all the sectors. I mentioned transport, energy, health, education, agriculture, as well as private sector. And in the private sector, it depends on really the country's aspirations. Of course, we want to make private sector the engine of growth. So you could go into agribusiness, manufacturing, tech, technology sectors, innovation, creative enterprises, all of that was discussed. So IsDB Group can provide non-interest, because all our financing is non-interest and Islamic finance, in all of those various sectors. But then we are selective and focused so that we can create impact at scale. And that's why you would have heard repeatedly today that our theme was to scale up the financing so that we are able to create the kind of impact that Nigeria needs in terms of its development requirements, given the large size of the population. The Honorable Minister mentioned, 600,000 graduates every year, 230 million population, and all of that. So I think we need to really scale up for that. So we are going in all the right sectors which are critical for unleashing and unlocking the real potential for growth.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Honda. So let's talk about recapitalization exercise. From the recent recapitalization exercise in the country, how do you see non-interest banks' position to deepen the financial and capital market?
This is one of our mandates to promote the Islamic finance industry. So we've, across our member countries, we have developed many catalytic Islamic finance institutions, which have really pioneered the growth of Islamic finance in the country. So we see Nigeria at a very early stage of Islamic finance development, primarily because of the huge size of the market. It has a huge potential to grow. All the Islamic finance banks, given the potential market size, can grow manyfold. And in so doing, I think they need capitalization. So this recapitalization exercise is timely. It's not just because of the huge market potential. The early stage of the Islamic finance banks, the huge transformation that lies ahead, as well as a lot of global and regional shocks which they are likely to face. So capital exercises are always good because they build the shock absorption capacity of the banks. And so that is why I think we see it as an important exercise. And I think it will place Nigerian banks in very good stead when they are able to withstand the market pressures, the shocks, but continue to grow in a very sustainable fashion. And I should also say that Islamic finance, by its nature, as was proven and made evident during the global financial crisis, are better at shock absorption because it's connected to the real economy. They are connected to the real assets which are being created. It's the power plants, it's the roads, it's the schools, it's the hospitals, it's the industries. It's all of those things are tangible things. So Islamic finance is always instinctively, intrinsically tied to those creation of those assets. This is our game, and I think that makes, by the nature of being tied to the real economy, that makes Islamic finance more stable, and it is better positioned to deepen the capital markets for finance.
I mean, you just talked about Nigeria withstanding shocks. So what are the optics for leveraging non-interest finance for national development in Nigeria amidst the ongoing geopolitical shocks from the Middle East?
The optics are good because the country is really gearing up and they are well positioned to receive finance from the Islamic world, from the Islamic finance sector. Nigeria is positioning itself to issue even sovereign sukuk, for which we are also trying to work with the Debt Management Office. And I think this will be a great value addition. So we can not only provide the necessary technical expertise, but also in terms of building the right structures, but also providing access to the huge pool of resources which are destined for sukuk type of investments. So it's what the Honorable Minister called the capital for purpose, right? So I think the optics are really good, and we can actually bring to bear different products in our arsenal. Various group entities like ISEC, for example, is already helping the country in terms of building flagship, big ticket economic infrastructure projects, such as the Lagos-Calabar coastal road, which connects coastal cities, ports, as well as free economic zones. And that is the name of the game in terms of regional connectivity, in terms of Nigeria becoming a logistics hub, and of course, increasing Nigeria's competitiveness, including expansion of its exports processing capacity. So I think ISEC providing an Islamic solution is a good sign of the things to come. And likewise, all the group entities, we have as Islamic Development Bank, a huge pipeline of projects, which we have identified over more than 2 billion for the next 3 years. So, which will be basically we'll be doing more than these 3 years than we have done over the last 25 years. So that I think gives us a lot of confidence. It's a positive signal for our cooperation with Nigeria.
So let's round up the conversation today, right? How's the ISDB country engagement framework critical for Nigeria currently?
All our country strategies are premised on and driven by national solutions. So, number one, it aligns with the Renewed Hope agenda. Different elements of it, for example, the Renewed Hope Infrastructure Fund, it will be directly supporting that. The government's drive for social development this year was declared as a year of social development. We'll be plugging into all the initiatives which are being undertaken by the government. And this country engagement framework is a group level engagement. So what I mean by that is this when we bring together all the group entities, so the sum is greater than the parts. So every product and offering is put together and harmonized and synergized so that we are able to create a bigger impact at scale. So this is one. So group synergy is at the heart and center of country engagement framework. The second thing is scale. And I mentioned that we want to move from fragmented projects to national, large-scale, impactful programs, and that is really what Nigeria needs. So whether it's regional rail, road corridors, urban mobility, whether it's transmission, distribution, generation of electricity in the energy sector, whether it's providing quality and access to healthcare and education, all of that we need to really scale up. So scaling up is also a very important theme of the country engagement framework. And the pillars, if I could mention quickly, those are really focused on economic transformation of Nigerian economy through sustainable infrastructure. And within that pillar, we have transport, energy, and the private sector development. And of course, we have in the infrastructure also digital infrastructure, which is important. And with the Honorable Minister also mentioned for the new digital economy, it's important that we support the necessary infrastructure in terms of fiber optic networks, digitalization, tech startups, and all of that. So we'll be supporting that. The second pillar is more focused on inclusive human capital development. It's important to raise the productivity of the population. So by giving them the necessary education, including technical and vocational education, which can increase their skills, make them more marketable, and of course easier for them to for the population to get employment in the emerging industries. And it is also a recurrent theme and a genuine commitment of the authorities to create more jobs for the huge number of youth. So I think for that you need to increase productivity and make the skills more market relevant. So our whole work will be focused on that. Of course, we know that in Nigeria there are a lot of out of school children. We're building a lot of schools, providing bilingual education, and together with TVET, this will ensure that right from no child is left behind, right from primary school to technical vocational education. People have the right skills, and they get employment at the end, gainful employment, which adds to the production and value added of the country's economy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much, Hammad Zafar Hundal. That was a fantastic conversation we've had today.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
That was a fantastic conversation with the head ISDB Group Regional Hub, Nigeria, Hammad Zafar Hundal. And we were able to talk about the critical sectors ISDB will be touching in Nigeria, the framework for Nigeria's growth and capitalization, and how ISDB is working in hand with the Nigerian government to help in capacity building, help in financial inclusion, and whatnot. And with that, I say, don't forget to keep the latest on the program. Follow us on all of our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you for watching, and as always, I am Rahma Saeed Mohammed.